and that's the magic of how you make it look like you are prepared. Welcome in, everyone. My kids, this is like a common room, so I'm going to blame it on my kids. Things that I thought were here last night were no longer, so I had to run around, get a light, otherwise it was going to look very shadowy. And the headphones were attached to another computer, so we are back. All right, let's start. First off, the big news. Yesterday was the 5th-year anniversary of this stream. I cannot believe there's been 5 years of this nonsense. Congratulations to you guys that have lasted and made it all this way. Very exciting. Time definitely flies, certainly during COVID. Wow. And I still feel like time is just accelerated and has not slowed up. I just remember it being like March, April, and now here we are, almost September. So, excuse me. If you guys have seen any other streams before, usually on important days like this, we celebrate, and we celebrate by celebrating you guys. And so we're going to do some quick giveaways. I'm going to draw the airs for like bouncy houses. That's what's going on. Got a bunch of people coming over. So the stream is a little short. I got to continue cleaning up. So for those of you in the Portland area, I'm going to be at Rose City Comic Con. I believe it's second weekend in September. So in 2 more weeks, I believe. I don't know if any of you guys are going there. Oh, there's a 60 for 60 sketchbook. You know what? I should probably get that and promote it. I'm trying to think where my copy is. Been traveling. But let's do a quick giveaway and then I'll take a commercial break and find that 60 to 60, kind of share it with you guys. Alright. What character should I draw? Does anyone remember the first sketch I did in stream back 5 years ago? What? Was it Green Lantern? Green Lantern was first? Wow, Kirihiko. Like, she knew immediately. Alright, which Green Lantern? Was it Hal Jordan? I gotta find this picture. Green Lantern. I'm gonna try to do this here. Jim Lee Twitch stream. Let's see what comes up. I'm wondering if this was it. Was that it? That's Kyle Rayner. Alright. We're going to go with the concept of it. Excuse me. I got COVID early July. I finally tested negative like on the 15th of July or 14th or whatever. And I still have congestion in my lungs, throat. It's really bad. I mean, otherwise I feel fine. Alright, let's do Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan? I don't think you saved the first one because you didn't know how to save streams back then. Back then? How about now? I still lose streams now. Anyway. Let's see. You know what's cool about Green Lantern is that he's got his own light source. So. And I just posted up a cover I did back in the day. So, I don't know if you can see that, but that is a hand. And it's good to think about, this feels very complicated. You want to simplify it, right? And so, if this is your wrist, when you have massive forearms like I do, like it tapers down, like you have this incredible taper to the wrist, right? So that's the taper to the wrist. This it's like a ham. I've described it that way as a ham or a big turkey breast, but it's it's a shape like that. Think of like, yeah, think of like the body of a chicken. That's like this, right? Look, look, right? Very. And so when you turn it in space so it's facing you like that, this line here represents the knuckle line, right? So here's finger 1, finger 2, finger 3, finger 4, thumb, right? And these are slightly, they're not flat, they're not at a 90-degree angle. They're not, that's a 90. I like a 65, and then that first finger pops up even more, right? So this is what I'm trying to approximate. Right? The other thing is the knuckles don't line up. They're all different lengths, right? So if you put a flat piece of paper there, see how there's a gap between the ring finger and the pinky, and even the index finger, right? If they were all the same size, it would look like that, but they don't. So it actually starts high but kind of lower than the middle, goes up to a peak, and then tapers back down. So there's an asymmetrical shape to this, meaning if this were a mountain range, the highest point is over here, right? And so that's important, right? Because that brings a little nuance into it, makes the shape look a little more realistic, and it's a super subtle thing to do. Okay? Yeah, I did the cluck cluck just for you, Clayton. All right. Now, if the elbow is down here and you can't see it, okay, let's just say the neck is here. It looks like he's kind of, hold on a second, I don't even know if this makes sense. Alright, let's put the head over here. I'm trying to set it up so that this light source basically casts an upward shadow across. I didn't know this would be a tutorial stream, but looks like that's where I'm going with this. So more, I don't know if I want to do a straight on headshot, so I'm going to take that head and just tilt it a little this way. So here's the center line of the head. If you can see that. The nose comes off the center line. The pursed blue steel lips fall underneath the nose. The chin is kind of a circular element there. And then we have one eye here, one eye here. This is a little unusual for me in that the camera's kind of in the way. Normally I'd be more on top of it, and things are kind of getting stretched out. Because normally I would be looking more down on it, but there's a little bit of a, I don't know if it's considered an optical illusion. There's something going on where things get further apart as they go up because of the perspective that I have. So I'm going to bring it down. One eye. Okay. And so we see more of this ear, that cheekbone, that jawline. And that's more or less straight on. What I don't like about this, I kind of want him looking down at his ring. So I'm going to we've taken that head and we've turned it this way in space. Now we're going to tilt it this way. All right. So we erase what we've done. Mentally we take that and we rotate in space so that the nose is further down and it's pointier, right? And it overlaps, that gets much closer to that top lip. This brow comes down more, and this ear gets elevated in relationship to the eyes. Those are the relationships that change when the head is tilted. So you can almost like ask yourself as you're drawing, okay, if I rotate this in space, what changes? Like you should be able to, before you draw it out, you should be able to mentally answer those questions. Because the drawing is just the execution of what you have in your head. If you can't ask those questions and answer them, then how, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly how you would. I guess you could draw by feel. It's almost like composing music without looking at written music. I guess there are people that can do it, and there might be some people with an instinctive a visual skill or trait that allows them to just draw something that they mentally imagine in their head. I kind of deconstruct a little bit more and ask the questions, because that's the proof for me. It's kind of like 2 plus 2 is 4 because 4 minus 2 is 2, right? So if I ask the questions and then answer them, and then the drawing is a representation of those answers. Those answers should look like the drawing that I imagined, right? So if I skip out on any of those steps, it should theoretically not work. Okay, see how that's been turned down? PJ Bicer, the puppy, is doing great. Less cuddly when we first got her. It was a Pomsky. But to be fair, we've been traveling a lot, so we need to spend more time with all our pets. Okay. Now it looks like he's just thinking. So I'm happy with the head, but not happy with the hand. So I think what I'm going to do, the initial idea in my head is that he's kind of looking down on his ring. So if you think about it, I drew this. I don't know what I drew. I drew something like this, I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can replicate this. No. How do I do this reverse? Did I do something like, I don't even know what I did. But the ring was facing you guys, so it's a little bit of this, which doesn't make sense. So I have to turn it so that he's looking more at this plane. So what that means is the knuckle line, and I don't even know if that's the placement given this is where his shoulder is. So let's go ahead and finish this part. Okay, is that feeling Green Lantern like? This eye looks like it's floating higher. So we're gonna just reinforce this V shape, and theoretically I think that eye comes down a little bit. So now I'm thinking, all right, based on where the camera is, which is over here in this hand, and then the center. Okay. All right. I'm going to try. Okay. I think it's going to be right. Or is it more pointed at us? Yeah, maybe it's more pointed at us. Right? So here's that knuckle line, goes up to the peak. Right there is that peak, and tapers back down. And that subtle progression here, low, like, so you have it on both sides. Here's the thumb. Thumb may be the easiest finger to draw. So now it's almost like a boxer type pose if you look at it, right? And this is a shadow of the bicep. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to really let this light really emanate. I'm thinking, it's just what kind of came to me. And now I need a large circle. I can freehand it, I think. The base of this light is a circle, but I don't want to move that. This is where a dinner plate comes in handy, a vinyl record, if you know, anyone knows what that is. But I think I can approximate it. Maybe I'll go and get a plate at some point. But it's going to be like this. I think I am going to get a plate because I'm going to use white out to go around the edges. And I'll make sure I have white out. If not, I have to get... Oh, I do. Okay, great. Alright, and now, if this is the light source, even though it's ahead of the face, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and it's almost as if you were looking into it, which is the original concept. This is where drawing can break the rules of reality and fool people. And that's the beauty of drawing. It's a made-up reality. Whereas with photography, I guess you can Photoshop it afterwards. But in general, things follow the rules of physics, and maybe there are some tricks and stuff with lighting, placement of lighting that you can do. Like if you put a hidden light underneath, you can make the ring do what I'm trying to do with the drawing. So yeah, there's ways to manipulate it in real life too. But I think it's far easier as a drawing. So this nose comes out in space. It's going to cast a triangular shadow like that. And the lines, if I fill it in black, you don't need the lines, but in general, I put those lines in to kind of remind myself the direction of the shadows, so that when I ink it, I can choose to leave a little, you know, sort of the substance underneath the face showing through, or I can go completely black, but I give myself the option. This temple, the same way this knuckle was the apex of this shape. If you think about your head, it kind of goes flat across, depending on your structure, but it goes relatively flat across. The apex is right here at the temple line, and that is the turn of the front of the skull to the side of the skull. So your temple is over here. If you have a sinus headache, you're going to feel it in here, and the side of the air sacs, I think, or whatever those are here. And so you're going to have a shadow there. Okay. The socket of your eye, okay, again, if you drew underneath and drew the skull, the eyeballs go in here. The eye is a round element inside that socket. That round element, which is the eyeball, also has an apex line, if you think about it, so the height right around there. If you think about a ball, like if you're looking from here, the furthest point away is the high point. So it would be right about there. And so there's a shadow on the other side of that ball. I mean, if you just completely rendered the ball, it would look like that, right? But because the skull hangs over the eyeball there, you don't... No eraser. Okay, here we go. You're not going to get that. But this can protrude, right? And then this cheekbone is the highest part of that structure there. I mean, again, if you were drawing a skull, it goes like this. Right? And there's actually a gap here. There's the jawbone. You have this thing, which is your cheekbone bone, right? And there's a gap underneath there. And so when it's very pronounced, it also casts a shadow, like it's like almost like a hole. And so if you think about it, that shadow comes all the way down to there. And then the structure here that represents from the midpoint of the mouth down to the side. Basically, the further, again, it's like a ball, because depending on how much your teeth protrude, but think of like this whole shape as a ball. It's not flat, right? It's flat, but like this part of your mouth, the gap between your front teeth is further forward than your canine teeth, and certainly of your molars, right? So the same thing I did up here with the eye. These elements of your mouth, you need to put a shadow there, because it's basically, And I'm going to draw it. So very simply, to recap, okay, there's your skull, socket, socket, temple line, nose, protruding nose, but this also is a ball. So if you were rendering this ball, you would put the rendering on that side. The eye sockets are like that. And then this thing, the cheekbone, anything behind this center, this line here, and this cheekbone are also in shadow. Right? So that is a simplification of this. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Now, he's got his hair here, kind of comes down. Now, think about the hair as being sort of, it's a cover to a dome. The shadow, we know, is definitely in the back like that. Now, the question is, what's not in shadow? I would say the hair on the temples, if it comes out a little bit, will escape the shadow cast by this sort of apex line. And so you'll see some of the hair here. You'll see the front part of the ear, which you can't see, but it's basically, the ear is like say it's like a serpent, right? In three-dimensional space at this angle, right? Like a cobra, right? Can you see that? Yeah. So that will catch, this surface will catch the light. This will probably cast a shadow underneath, right? And then this part that protrudes out, I don't even know what it's called. It also casts a shadow. And then there's a canal, like from the side, and a basic ear, the one I use, basically has a little cavity there, a bigger cavity here. This thing that protrudes out, that kind of is the flap that is in front of the cavern that leads to the eardrum. Alright, so it's almost like an upside down comma there, a smaller mirror reverse version of that. And so if the light's above, this is kind of what you see. Right? So from this angle, this thing casts a shadow, and you might see a little bit of this line back here. We'll put it in. Okay? And then he's all, Green Lantern to me has always had a little bit of a mullet, so we're going to pop a little hair back here, but we'll put that all in shadow because it's in the back of his head. And then if you think about the neck as a giant cylinder, a very squat can, that this whole section for sure is in shadow. These two cables that represent the muscles that go from the clavicle up to, I think they connect up to the base of your ear, more or less. Those two cables are going to be sort of rendered on the side. The Adam's apple will cast a shadow on the side. Think of it too as a circular sort of ball stuck in between these two cables that form this V, right? These two cables form the V. This ball's in the center, casts a shadow, has a shadow on the side. And then there are tendons, ligaments, I don't know what they're called, but things that go from this part of the body that basically connect into the cylinder that is the neck, and that allows you, I assume it allows you to rotate and move your neck around, right? Then all these cables basically create shadows themselves. And I don't even know. There's not like a structure to the cables like the ear. I just put some, and I don't even know if I make them symmetrical. No one's ever called me out on it. Yet. Maybe they do. Alright, so here's the clavicle. The collarbone basically pops out like that, right there. Think of it as a protrusion that's coming, a little sand dune that's coming out of the sort of the curved surface of the chest. That too will cast a slight shadow. Right? As will this collarbone. And then the light will go all the way underneath like that. And then even this hand will cast a shadow on the wrist that's underneath it. But it's going to be like illuminated. I don't even know if I'm going to draw any of that. So then see how there's this shoulder here. Let's just take it and replicate it over here. You mirror flop it. This is the part of the collarbone kind of goes in, and I don't know. It's like a wrench, maybe. Think of it like as a weird wrench set, right? But it kind of approximates it's a very organic shape. But then when you get up here, that wrench head basically casts a shadow. And then the pecs kind of sit underneath this collarbone, right? So again, as they curve away from the light source, we're just going to shadow it. And sometimes I will do 3 lines like that, 4 lines, to indicate the curvature of the surface, but also to indicate like a slight gray, very abstract, sort of an abstraction of that. Or you can start out kind of lighter and then go darker as you go down. All right. The nipple is right about here. That's important to know because, yeah, so right there, and then that casts a shadow, so that's a good sort of turning point. These are landmarks on a pec. There's only one, I think, is that nipple, right? And then the rest of this, and then I'm going to put these lines just because what's going to happen is as we get further away, it's going to be more impressionistic and less solidified. And right, so let's go ahead and erase our ears. Is anyone drawing along? Can't see the nipples, boss. Well, they were censored. All right, here we go. Da, da, da. All right, let's do that again. Recap. The nipple's roughly right around there. It is also a slight bump just like this, and so it will catch the light and cast a shadow that way. All right, and then here's the Green Lantern symbol. Okay. And we're going to approximate that circle. And then we're going to do the symbol itself. How's everyone doing? Summer's almost over. A lot of people are back in school. Here in California, it's still very hot, so you would never know that the seasons are changing. Okay. All right. Now, the same way I put the shadow here on that, there's a sphere here, so the inside of that sphere also gets a little bit of shadow love. And see this cheekbone line here that cuts across? It's also here too, and so I usually just kind of put a line to indicate it's there. And the same way I have that, you can do a little bit on this side of the eye, but not as much because it's closer to the line, right? And see how there's that sphere here? Same thing. Maybe it catches a little shadow there. He's got his furrowed brow, maybe the brow lines. Now, you start making those lines, he starts looking older. You could also, sometimes you'll see me do this, you draw lines across the forehead. If the light source is below this ridge line. In this instance, it's not, so I'm going to keep it open for now. I might put those lines in or something later, but that's... Okay, now, this clump of hair, this this swirl, will cast a shadow on the hair behind it. Okay? Every time there's a clump of hair, and think about it as clumps of hair, those clumps will cast shadows. So think about the shadows rather than drawing the hair itself. It's a very... I don't know if it's Zen. I was going to say Zen, but I don't know. I'm not Zen. Draw not the hair. Draw the shadows of the hair. Don't draw Batman. Draw the impact of Batman. Got it. All right. So, I'm going to take a look at it at the angle I need to look at it, which I'm going to lift it up a little bit. Ooh, so what's happened... Because I've been drawing flat, this at this angle the eyes look right. When at this angle everything is kind of skewed. So in a way I have to scrunch back that angle, and I'm going to look at it like from here so that I'm getting the right perspective on this. So this is where I would advocate using a drawing table that's at an incline, or being able to lean over your drawing, which is what I normally do even if I draw on a flat surface, but it's hard to with this camera in my way. So what I'm doing, it's almost like I drew it and then stretched it and pulled it this direction. So I need to pull back on those elements. So I'm squishing it back this way. And this mouth is not lined up. The center of the lips. Right there. And then the jawline. Okay. Ooh, and that ear really got pulled up very high because of that skewing effect. Alright, so I need to put myself in the center of the drawing, but it's all the same things I just showed you. I was just scrunching it back in. And to be fair, this is all going to be black, so this part of the hair I know is going to disappear into the background here, but it's going to be stars. So think about all this as black. So this sort of line is less concerning to me. Okay. And because normally I do a very flat bottom part of the chin, but when you tilt your head down, you see more the kind of it's a little more round. Very subtle difference. If it's straight on, you're going to just see the silhouette at the bottom of the jawbone. When you tilt down, that what is this? The bulb of your chin, the roundness of your chin, that fleshy material hangs over that straight line, which is at the bottom of your jawline. So that's why you get a very subtle kind of line like that. Okay. Okay. So I think that looks fairly close enough, as they say. Okay. Alright, so that's fairly detailed pencils for me. I usually, when I start inking, it's, it's about this level maybe. Okay. Thanks, SM Cardi 313. Alright, so let's see here. Let me show it to you the way it should be seen. Got it? See how the proportions change depending on the angle? Like that's very big brain, and that's, you can see the chin really grow in size as I tilt it, and the hand becomes larger in space, and he gets beefy, right? So let me match the angle of which the camera is. I think that's about it. So that's about as close to what I was looking at. Lole Monk Chu, why superheroes all good looking? I don't know. They say in art to really use real life as reference, and I look at myself when I draw superheroes, so I don't know if that answers your question or not. But okay, I use my reference for both the men and women, so to be fair, the characters are looking a little older, scragglier. All right, easy, Tiger, easy. All right, now I want to use ink, and I don't have it here. I know where it is, and then I'll probably need a brush or a piece of toilet paper to help spread that ink. So I'm going to get that. So just slight pause. Amuse yourselves. It'll be 2 minutes max. All right. I don't know if anyone timed that. Was that less than 2 minutes? All right. First off, what do I have here? Oh, these are from the con, I think. I think I was drawing a tutorial on hands. How to draw hands, like 3-dimension. Then I drew my arm. Let me make it a little more action-packed. I'm not drawing the spaghetti, I'm drawing the shadow of the spaghetti. Big difference, right? There's the shadow of the plate. Okay. We can give that away. And then this, I did a Morpheus Sandman drawing that Neil Gaiman was going to write a quote to. It was a collaboration. We sold it to benefit the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. And this must have been a stab at it. And I don't know why I didn't like it. You know why? I think it was too far to the right. I didn't like that ear touching the edge of the page, and I just kind of moved everything over. Right. But I'm willing to part with this as well. Let's just put that in the queue. And then just if we could pause for a second. So this is pause. I don't know what pause means in a live stream, but this is the 60 for 60 sketches under lockdown, PK put together, and it is a hardcover. You can see kind of how thick it is. It's a very handsome book that I colored the death image, and in my head I always sort of imagined as this sort of cool shades of blue purple. So that was a lot of fun to do. I don't do a lot of color work. This one's already pre-signed. We'll give this one away as well. And has a forward. And then each of the sketches are represented one by one. And I have accompanying sort of liner notes. Some of it is copy and pasted from the Instagram. Like sometimes when I posted it, I would have something to say about the piece via and I would put that on Instagram, but it turned out a lot of them I had nothing. Sometimes I would just post it because I was starting to run out of fumes and time as I was doing these. So I went back in and retroactively added something interesting, hopefully, for each of the sketches. So it goes from Nightwing to Bizarro to Azrael to Dr. Fate. They're all DC characters. Batman Who Laughs. So let's take a quick. So they started out. I was going to just only do headshots at the beginning. I figure if I do headshots, I could do 60 headshots in 60 days, no problem. But the problem was with sharing on social is like people are watching. If I did all 60 and then just put them up, then that probably would have been the smart way to do it. But what happened is like, all right, here's the first one. How do I get people engaged? How do I get people to bid and donate the most amount of money? It's like, all right, maybe on the first one I'll do a little bit more than a headshot. So I ended up doing this 3/4 shot of Nightwing. And it was like, you know, neither here nor there. Whoever bought this is probably the loveliest representation of Nightwing. I poured my heart and soul into this drawing. Like, this is truly a piece of my life that I've shared with you that you now own. But anyway, I did this, and you know, and then what happened is people liked it, and they're like, you know, so you get the crowd cheering you on, and you're like running in a race, and you don't want to give up. And so it's like, oh, I can't do a headshot for the second one. I'll do Bizarro. All right, this one will be full figure. It's simple, and I'll do like a little comedy bit because that's Bizarro, and you know, yeah. So Dave Mendel bought the Nightwing. I don't know what he did with it, but the way I wanted to sort of increase engagement with this. So whoever bought an image, a piece, got to choose who the next character was from the DC sort of vault. And so Dave had bought Nightwing, and he chose Oh no, he did not. The first couple, I think we just did. I think the people in chat voted, but in general, as we got into it, once I had people, whoever bought Nightwing, then gave me a suggestion, but they couldn't give me the suggestion quick enough to do Bizarro. So I loaded up the first several from feedback I think I saw in chat. So that was Nightwing. I don't know who. I think Nightwing asked for the first three were from chat, so I think Nightwing asked for Batman Who Laughs, right? Which kind of makes sense. Or no. Asked for Dr. Fate, I believe. Anyway, maybe someone here can give me the scoop. And what the heck? All right, so got that. Bizarro was kind of a joke. And on this one, I think I reached out to Jeff Johns, and he gave me help flatten curve too. Like it was, you know, official DC writer copy approved. I'm not a writer. I could not have come up with this in 3 lifetimes. So, and then obviously this little guy down here is a visual nod to action number 1. There's a guy that's holding his head that's famously running away as Superman crashes a car into the ground. It's not in the liner notes. This is extra behind the scenes content just for you guys. All right. And this is a Kurt Swan pose. If you Google Kurt Swan Superman pose, I wanted to do something in homage to Kurt in that classic Superman feel, but then obviously do the Bizarro version of it. So Google it, you'll see it, and then you go like, oh, you know what, you're not so special. You just copied Kurt Swan, which, yes, true. Yeah. Kurt with a C. Anyway, then Azrael. I want to say this is the first time I've ever drawn Azrael, and it's a complicated costume. I put something secretive. I put something, as I want to do, in the crackling mortar or whatever that is, the cement. It says, I don't think it says dead. I'm Dave. Dave, I don't know. There's something there. It looks like a panda of some sort over here, like a little nose and eye right there. There was something I was writing and I hid it too well. I don't even know what I wrote, but there was something there because you can see I am, and then there's a D, A. Anyone? Dave Grohl? No. All right. Yeah. So this is Egyptian hieroglyphics that says crispy roll can eat it. If you Google hieroglyphics, that's the secret command. Yeah, and then if you notice on his costume, you know, like a lot of movie costumes, they'll do like the Superman shield as like little symbols to create the texture. And so I thought, well, in this Dr. Fate, I'll do like little ankhs, ANKHS. So if you look here, you can't. I'm like pointing. Can you look here? Pinch and expand that. Like I can't. They're little ankhs. All these little lines that create the texture. They're all meant to be little ankhs, like the Egyptian symbol of. You know, I don't know what it is. Okay. And this is kind of what we're going to do. Oh, you know, I forgot to grab that plate. Oh, we'll figure it out. Okay. And then this is when I got a little crazy. As you know, there's not a single headshot yet. Because people are like, you know, the best one yet. And like, okay, I'll show you. So that was the problem. I was in, like, that's the problem with social media. Is that it sucks you in. And before you know it, you're down this whole Reels rabbit hole and watching people you don't know doing stupid things and then going, how did I get here? So then someone had suggested Batman. I don't know. Like I wanted to do like I've got like thousands of Batman on a gargoyle. I've never done a Batman Who Laughs on a gargoyle, and so like, all right, we'll do them. But what would the gargoyle look like if it was like skeletal? And then I put all these other skeletons going back, and then full on background rain, like. and then it just got whatever. And so there's a lot of work. And then I tried to rein it in and do something that was more traditional in terms of the style. And then this one of my, like, I don't know, like, so all these pictures, like, I'm here, my wife is here, she hated that photo. She's like, why did you let other people get better lighting? I said, I want us to look like we're past, like we're dead. That's the whole, like, so even in death, some people are worried about how they look. But Mark Bernardin here, Pui, she's an attorney in Vegas, FJ DeSanto, Brittany, a daughter, Caitlin, I believe. Who is this? Oh, Adrian, another friend of mine. John Dolmayan right here. Amanda Waller. Chris and Lisa, some friends of ours from North, and then these people are made up. That looks like the Spectre over here. But I wanted to do something that kind of offset the pure black and white. So this one, it has. If I bought any of them, this one would definitely been on there. Should I stop? Should I get back to the drawing? I'm definitely down a rabbit hole. It's kind of like you watch one reel, and now you're watching people walk through a shopping mall, sashaying their hips, and you're like, what? No, keep going. All right. Okay. The Grim Knight. I just thought about the Punisher, and then I put a cowl on his head. Jorge Safino was the person. Yes, Jorge Safino. I did mention that. So Jorge Safino, he's no longer with us. His son is fantastic, Gerardo. Google Jorge Safino. He's an Argentinian artist. He did a couple Punisher projects for Marvel. That's how I discovered his work. And it was just really so expressive, and the brushwork and evocative. He would do like subtle underlighting with cross-hatching. Really way ahead of his time. And just from a technique standpoint, a lot to learn from looking at his work. But I just wanted to create this sense of like you're right in the middle of this huge firefight. Did uplight. I don't know. It's weird. Like there's a cast shadow going this way, but then there's side lighting going here. So again, this is where I just drew something that probably looked good, but probably really would be very hard to replicate in real life. Yeah. Anyway, so. And there's a lot of black on black shapes, which is a lot of fun, and that's the fun of doing black and white pieces. And then this one is also a crazy one. This is where I started realizing that I could use splat like thin, like a toothbrush, and do kind of sprayed, almost like an airbrush effect. And so I did streaks, I think, for the first time in this one, I believe. And again, it's just, as you can see, there's like a complexity of effort. And this is the first time I've drawn Red Death, which was a lot of fun. Cool character costume design. I would hate to have drawn this multiple times. But I like the idea, like same thing with Batman Who Laughs, that he's running through a field of skeletons, and so as he kind of breaks to come to a halt, pieces are flying up in the air and making that noise like the roll of dice. That's what I hear in my head. Grifter and Zealot. Hey, if I'm not going to do a headshot, I'll draw two characters and a full-on background and a creature and a foreground, middle ground, background. Like, what was I thinking? Like, so this is when they started becoming like 6, 7, 8 hours of work, and the whole goal at the beginning was to spend no more than 1 hour, hour and a half maybe. But a lot of fun. Obviously, drawing a gun in 3/4, slightly coming at you, that takes time. And this is when I really, as you notice, because it's all black and white, I started really getting into tonal values, like white, light gray, medium gray, black, full-on black. And you could accomplish that through smearing ink, splattering white out, splattering black ink, cross-hatching, obviously, so you can see. And I was just really having a lot of fun building up values, going from white to medium to black, right? So even right there, if you look in that shadow, I don't know if you can tell, zoom in like that, you can see that that's just dry brush smearing. Just a lot of fun, just like throwing stuff down and reacting to it. All right, this one, I think this is when we were up at the ranch. This is still during lockdown. I was in the kitchen. Everyone had gone to sleep. Sometimes I drew the sketches up in a little studio space. I was in the kitchen. I just had one marker, so I used one marker to draw this whole thing. And it's too lazy probably to find a brush and ink. But what happened is that all the black areas are just a result of multiple cross-hatching. Once you put the splatter, it kind of grays things out. So this is a really, to me, it's a very tonal drawing where there's a lot more levels of gray between the white and pure black, and there's very little pure black in all of this. So this one, again, it's like, all right, if I'm going to do Huntress, and I think I knew I was going to do Deathstroke, maybe I can visually link any characters associated with Batman to kind of raise the value. I try to sneak Batman in there somehow to increase sort of donor participation. Although, a spoiler, I did not put Batman in here. Okay. This one I did on stream. That's Aquaman. This is another one of my favorites, Gotham. Gotham, thank you, PK. I'm never going to let it live it down. But I don't draw a lot of animals. If you Google man on a black horse, man on a horse, Google it, and you should see this horse. Can someone Google it and see if this pops up? It might be on page 52 of images. I don't know. I'm sharing all the tea. Spilling all the tea. Sharing all the receipts. You guys just confuse the heck out of me. Anyway, I don't draw a lot of animals. Rearing animals like hard to find, and but I found a photo and I used that as reference. But then, of course, I put Batman and modeled him after myself. I've watched my daughter ride enough. Heels down, toes up. That's how you're supposed to ride. Big Ben. I was like, so all these were inspired by what we're going through. Obviously, other pandemics have occurred throughout the world, and a big one was cholera back in the Victorian age, so I felt like that was appropriate. But cholera, I think, is bacteria in water, and they didn't know quite how infectious diseases worked or how they were spread, and I think this helped unlock the thinking or the science behind it. But they discovered that people were getting kind of pump water out of one well in London, I'm guessing, and they were drinking it. That's how they got sick. And so they realized bacteria, unseen things, can make you sick. So, science. But I wanted to put like this notice of cholera, and I googled cholera notices. So, be temperative of eating and drinking. I didn't make that up. I googled that, right? So this is where when you put a piece together, you know you're going to have something historic. You're going to have something involving animals, historic sites. You're basically going and googling different things and then kind of assembling it in your head in a composition. You know, one notice here, but the idea that they're kind of floating through the air, so you got to put two or three, and they get smaller and folded kind of in background. You got the fog of London behind it that kind of creates a nice white bottom, and you kind of go dark as you go up. That was kind of the thinking. Okay. This one SM Cardi got. This is this looks very Barry Windsor Smith to me. This is when I like by 21. I'm like, okay, maybe I should do the headshots that I thought I was going to do. But then even with the headshots, these are headshot plus, right? And I think he liked it because it has a scalpel, and you know, and so there's a medical reference, and obviously all the scars, and you know, I just like the fact that he does the 5 mark, he does the 4, and then the 5. Like, it's so hard to keep track personally, counting that way. but it's got Batman reflections and obviously the shadow of Batman. But this gave him some earrings and then blood splatter. And so with that, it's just I poured ink and then probably blew it like literally like that to make the ink move, or maybe I turned the page to the side and tapped it to make it go down and spray out, right? To create pure randomness, right? It's if you draw it, you're gonna invariably fall into certain patterns, right? And by introducing randomness through, physics, blowing, or using gravity, you get shapes and compositions that you would never have created if you decided to do it and manually create it. And I like the idea of a toothpick. Just made him, he slices and dices people, but he's very focused on oral hygiene. I thought that was cool. Contribution to Batman mythology. All right, so then you got Bane. I'm not going to go through this one. I really loved just because of the power. I was trying to really capture Kirby, and I felt like I had enough there, and I wanted to just really be more expressive and loose as I got away from the concrete elements. And so I don't think you noticed this because this is fairly representative, and then I think it just works to create a vibe, as the kids say these days, and more of a feeling than something that actually exists, because obviously he's just kind of disappearing into the cosmos. Happy birthday, Kirby. Jack Kirby. Yes, always. This is Cyborg. Just like the idea that, again, I don't even know what he's doing, but it's kind of cool thinking about what's underneath the surface silver of it all, and like what's going on underneath. So that was a lot of fun exploring that. I use myself as photo reference. I actually have an image I could share someday, but I did this pose. I look nothing like this, but it was really more about where the subtle shadows go across the face, right? So there's a cast shadow of the hand across the cheek there. This nose, mouth casts a shadow on that finger, and it's double lit. So you got light coming here, light coming in from this side, and maybe I will share the photo reference if I can find it. Let me look real quick to see if I can find it now. Hold on one second. Because I am curious myself. It would have been 2020, and it would have been probably... Okay. Let me look real quick. I know it's still at the, okay, yeah, 2020, right? 2020, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna spend just a minute. No, it's before June, right? Yeah. Okay, oh yeah, here we go. Uh-huh. Okay. Getting closer, closer. Oh, here's a reference of the horse. So I, just like in true comic book fashion, I think I made the hooves and foreshortened it a bit so that the head and the neck were bigger. And then obviously I changed the pose of the figure. Okay, so I did multiple takes. I don't think I'm going to share these online because I look crazy. So then that was just the pose, the hand on the head and the hand below. But then I think you can see my wife's hair here. I think I had her hold the iPhone onto the side so that I can get the light. This is the mirror flop version, so the hand's up here, so I just flipped it. But I had her move the light around to see different sort of shadow. Alright, so that I'm trying to approximate large Joker eyeballs there, right? So, yeah. So there she is going, what's wrong with you? Are you okay, honey? Do we need to go to the doctor again? get that refill. Yeah, so there you go, and then there's the image. It's mirror flopped, right? Hold it closer to camera. Yes, okay. You want to see all the embarrassment for real. Like there. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. All right. So it's really just sort of getting the different values, what's blown out, what's middle gray, what's gray, dark gray, right? Okay. Took some screenshots. My body story. Can someone track that boy down? All right, so now we're going to get back to this drawing. Yes, yes. Yeah, and then again, I'm doing headshots, and now I'm doing photo reference for the headshots. Like, you know, what is going on? So, needless to say, and the other thing I like about this, one last thing. All right, so the last one is Jason Todd, very fitting. At the end of the day, abandoned layouts, poor layouts. Black Adam, Blight. I wanted to incorporate Batman Beyond in that. This was an abandoned Dark Side image, and it just looked too small. And I changed the angle and made it bigger. And here, I think I had the reflection of Superman flying at him on the side of the metal of his helmet. I don't know. I abandoned it. This was an original death further back. Then I kind of liked, I was going to have her hands up like, I don't know what this is, both hands up, kind of like beckoning, and then crop it tight, and then I decided the hands were a distraction, and I just wanted to really just focus on the face and expression. This is the abandoned Hawk Girl, it's more cropped and has, I think, more energy. I don't know why I ultimately changed my mind, but I like this just because if you see the limbs are all bent. There's no straight. Like, look at even that bicep, tricep. It's like oink oink. That's the artistic term for like animating figures and giving it more life than real life. Hush Batman initial layout, right? It's pretty much the layout. So sometimes I just do that to think about what's black and what's not, as they merge the two together. Brainiac, abandoned shot. Composite Superman, I was going to do a close-up at one point. I chose not to. Swamp Thing, which also ended up being a board where I would ink. I use other sketches to, like if you're inking past the border of the edge of a piece of paper, you don't want it to go on the table sometimes. And I would use abandoned sketches as under sort of placemats, essentially. Another Swamp Thing that I kind of abandoned, which I still like. This one is Swamp Thing. He's actually part of the swamp itself, and the trees are growing out, like a tree is growing out of his chest. You see his hand here and his face, and I was going to hide him so that when you looked at it, you just saw this tree, and you're like, what is this? And then if you look closer, you see that Swamp Thing is actually part of the swamp itself. Okay. Scarecrow, initial, I got fairly far with this one, and then I think I wanted to do something more fine line and textured, and that's what happened. But like this whole thing was going to be black, and then underneath here the fingers, and for whatever reason, it looks like a scarf advertisement maybe. I don't know, whatever. This is Silk Spectre design, and I like the body. I think this is pretty much what I used, but I didn't like the fact that it cropped off at the top, so I think I just took it and transferred it and made it either smaller or moved it down. There we go. Sorry. Oh, I think I revised the Silk Spectre, and so I went from that, and this is, I think it's if you Google good girl art, there's a lot of artists from the 40s or 50s, 60s even, and this is inspired by one of those. I forgot the artist's name, but that's where it originally came from, because the conceit of the character, the era of the times, I wanted to use that. And then I want to give a little more charm. I don't know if I used this as the final pose, but I didn't like how it was cropped off at the top. That the OCD part of me kicked in, so I got fairly far along, and I just basically redrew it and moved it down by a 1/4 inch. Mr. Freeze, this is going to be all like core shadows with detail and backlighting, and I said, that's a lot of work. How about I just do this? And that ended up being a lot of work too, but for different reasons. I can't help it. I can't help myself. You can see the cape, the shadow of Batman's cape, and so that, obviously he's facing off against Batman. I don't even know why I drew that little Batman head down here. Makes no sense. Two-Face is going to be more a 3/4 shot, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll do straight on, and then I had it designed like sort of a Harvey Dent campaign button, and then I ended up just drawing on a separate piece of paper and pasting it down because I probably thought about it after the fact. And then with Wonder Woman, I was going to do a thing where it was like different Wonder Woman over the ages as the actual sketch itself, so 4 different Wonder Women, and I decided not to. And then obviously this is a play off of the classic, it's a World War II sort of propaganda poster, something the Welder. Someone in chat will know. Rosie the Welder, yeah. Do you remember which one went for the highest amount? I know some of which did. I don't know Rosie the Riveter, sorry. So I don't know which one went for the most, but there are definitely some. This one went for. There are a few that hit over 20, I think. And so, for example, you can see that one. So you can see that 1/4 inch. I just basically moved it down. So Ace the Bat Hound, yes. So when someone asked me for that, I was like, really? I was like, oh, there goes the momentum. And then this one, they suggested it, they bid on it, and they won it. And so this one went for over 20. And people love their dogs, and including Batman. And so again, I wanted to put him in the background, but in a way so you don't see him immediately, but obviously connect him with Batman, and you see his hands over here. Ah, he's hugging his dog. All right. So I'm not sure exactly how that works. If you don't draw through it, but just it's more the emotion that I was trying to express. But yeah, this one for one of the good ones here. And let's see what other. For sure, like Batman, and this one went for a fair amount. Death went for a lot. This Death piece went for a lot. I think this was close to 20, if not over 20. I think Scarecrow went for close to 20. And yeah. But all in all, these sketches raised 643,000. So 643 divided by 60. You can see that they, on average, went for a little bit over 10,000 each, which was a huge surprise. And I remain eternally grateful to the people that bid on it and sort of engaged in the whole campaign. There were some people that kind of bought one and ran the table, and just big time collectors. And I got to meet them as things lifted in real life, and that was really cool. Sort of seeing the people that were so generous with their bidding. Anyway. Hey, Kanger Banger. I see a lot of the regulars in chat, obviously recognizing that this is an anniversary stream. So what time is it? Oh, I got 5 minutes. Ay, ay, ay. All right, I'm going to have to... the Jumpy Houses are here for a reason, so I have to help kind of host this party for our school. So hopefully you guys enjoy the hour and a half we spent. I will continue this next stream, and this is going to be a giveaway for anyone in chat. And should we run it now and then it gets done and we ship it to them, or should we wait to run the the selection until next time. Run it now, because I figure people are here. And okay, let's do it now. And reward the people that tuned in today. Next stream, I will finish this, and you'll see the inking piece of it. So today, think about it as a penciling tutorial on Hal Jordan Green Lantern. I will drop this into Discord chat, and we're going to go raid someone as we continue talking for a second. Where do I go? Discord. There we go. I have a feeling this is not my Discord account, though. Oh, it's not. Everything's in Korean. Oh, no, it is. Okay, let me see. What's going on? Oh, this is my daughter's account that she's Korean, so I gotta log out. And I was like, I see my Discord channel is because she's a member, and I don't see the moderator channel, so everything's in Korean. I don't know how to log out. Where's the log out? It's at the bottom. I see the gear symbol. Unforeseen. Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. I will access it through my phone and then just type it in. So we have 4 more conventions to fill out the year. So Portland, Rose City Comic Con, I think I'll be there September 9th, or is it 10th? Saturday only. I think it's the 10th. Mods, do you guys have someone we're going to raid? I'm just looking here. And then after that, the next show after that is Baltimore Comic Con. Here, I'll give you the actual dates. Let's just pull this up. So September 10th, Saturday, I'll be at Rose City Comic Con in Portland. October 28th, I will be at Baltimore Comic Con. It's a Friday. And then November 26th, that's a Saturday, Thanksgiving week. And that will be San Francisco Fan Expo. And then New York Comic Con, I forgot that. New York Comic Con, early October, I think the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know if I'm there all 4 days, but definitely Friday and Saturday, I think, right? So, with that said, what we do at the end of the stream is we go and do a raid. And before that, we're going to do the giveaway. So, let me type in. Okay, I've got that. Let's figure out. So this giveaway is going to be, I'm going to do subs only on this one. And for those of you who are new, the next stream there will be a quicker sketch that will be a giveaway for anyone in chat. But I do want to sort of support the people that have supported the stream over the 5 years. You know, I don't stream as much, but I do appreciate the community that's been created, and I appreciate all the input. And I really like hanging out and just sort of talking to people in Discord, just because it's sort of a subsection of the larger social media chaos that I find so uninviting. Okay, so to right, okay, there we go. Okay, I think I got it. So if this does not work and someone for some reason is not a sub and wins, that means I've pushed the buttons. I never know, like if blue means it's highlighted or not highlighted. I think I figured it out. But here we go. Are you guys ready? I think you have to have put something in chat within the past 5 minutes to be actively enrolled in this. So if you're sort of a lurker but you're a sub, just type in a number, anything, and it'll basically throw you into the pool of people. Anyway, congratulations, guys. I want to thank the mods, right? We have Kirihiko, we have Crispy Egg Roll, and PK. They are here virtually at every single stream. They give up their time and energy to run the Discord channel, to be here to help moderate, make this a cool, fun, safe space where people can just hang out and talk about art and comics and share their love for the art form. I appreciate all you guys showing up at conventions. It was really fun hanging out with a bunch of the subs at San Diego. Hope to replicate it in New York. The other shows I'm like in and out, and so there's less opportunity to do that. Like usually I fly in, if it's even possible, I fly in the morning, do the show, and fly out that night. If that's not possible, I fly in late the night before, do the show, and then fly out right at as soon as I can. So really, New York will be the next opportunity. Hopefully things will be cool and safe for all to sort of mingle. That was the case in San Diego. And actually, for the people that showed up, if you could say in Discord, like, did anyone get sick from going to San Diego Comic-Con? I was just curious. I saw a bunch of professionals I actually interacted with, like hugged and saw it, at dinners, got sick, and so I was just curious, kind of how bad it was for everyone that was there. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Here we go. So the winner is going to be NerdOpsNet, following since August 30th of 2020, so 2 years, and as a sub. So congratulations, NerdOpsNet. Okay, and now we're going to go do a raid, and basically that means I have to type something in. Just hang with me. We'll go there and just hang out for a few and surprise other creatives online. Mostly it's, as you guys know, it's a gamer platform, but I do like, and it's also a way for me to see a lot of other creatives from around the world and sort of share our love for art. So here we go. Did that not work? I don't see the button that I normally do. Let me try that again. Invalid name. Oh, okay. I am seeing a I, and I think it's I'm seeing an I, but it's really, I thought it was an L. So here we go. All right. So no, it's saying invalid name. Oh, it's a 1. Are you kidding me? I'm like going, you know what? Raid's off. Is that an L or a 1? I think that's a 1 as well. Please work. No. Oh my god. I can't see. Hold on. Only the first one, Kirihiko. But look, the second one looks like a 1 too. I am losing my eyesight. I apologize, everyone. Alright. Here we go. Thank heavens it works. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon, and we will finish up this Green Lantern. Be good, have fun, and have a great rest of your weekend.